Wait
Hey
till they redo the
everyone,
Ninja Turtles.
welcome to the Heroes World podcast, quarantine version, Transformers. Wah, wah. Anyways, I'm your host, Stoop. Hey, this is the podcast where we talk about all things geek and pop culture topics. These are conversations typically we've been having in the store that you might overhear, but we decided to just record them. So here we go. So I'm here as always with Andre and John. Collectively, they have over 50 years of experience in the comic book and retail industry. They started off working in high school in a comic book store, and they became co-owners of their own store in Markham, Ontario, which they've been running for 20 years. We'll round up. And of course, it's your one-stop shop for all your comic needs. Andre is a huge Star Wars and Mass Effect fan. He also likes playing little Warhammer gaming games, so I'll call it like that. He has extensive knowledge in comics, plays tons of video games, and of course, he loves Iron Man but hates Robert Downey Jr. John is our action hero movie junkie, of course, only of the years from 1993 to 96. He loves painting miniatures, action figure modeler. He's also the master of making really bad dad jokes. Bad.
What are you talking about? No, nobody wanted to talk about Taylor Swift last week. I'm kind of upset, but that's all right.
Can you name 3 songs from her album?
The new album? No.
There we go. All right, next. Rob, our, of course, resident agent of mischief, constantly throwing down his hot takes. Yep. Big collector on his own, DC fanboy, and of course, part of the Army Hammer entourage. So here we go. We are joined also with Pat, who is our resident collectible card game champion, big Magic the Gathering person who is also a judge. So there we go. As you can see from background, lots of toys in his background, lots of collections of either toys or video games. And he can
name every track on the Taylor Swift album.
Don't out him. Leave him alone. There we
I
go.
didn't say anything
He's
on
in the top
purpose.
10% of Taylor Swift's fans.
Don't out him. Leave him alone.
According to Spotify, that one time.
That one time was yesterday.
Yeah. And John is also a quick shout out. Also loves Mariah Carey, so we'll leave that one out there.
I do love Mariah Carey.
Yes. Love Mariah Carey. Loves. And finally, we're joined today by Joey. So thanks for joining us. She can currently be seen on Heroes Manufactured, which is on YouTube, and on a segment called Comics Vault. She is the convention coordinator at Chapter House, which of course makes comics such as Captain Canuck. And clearly, she is a big Transformers fan, which is why she's here with us today. And apparently also an avid toy photographer. So, fun facts. Hey! And well, there we go. And finally, I'm here because I've been shopping with the stores of Andre and John for 20 years. And of course, I own the Zoom password. Here I am. So that's why I'm here. So today we're talking about Transformers. As you can see from my background, this is Cybertron. So the 6 episodes dropped on Thursday. It is Transformers War of Cybertron Trilogy. It's a mouthful because
Wait, you're missing part Siege.
Part Siege.
Yeah.
Because again, there's already a War of Cybertron, the video game, and there's already lots of things out there.
There's already a war in this podcast.
There's already it's more of a skirmish. I don't know about war. We're not really getting to that point yet. So I guess we'll do, before we jump over to our spoiler review, it is 6 episodes, about 24 minutes a pop, 22 minutes an episode. So just as a basic yes or no, should you waste your hard-earned time? Should you watch this show?
I feel like there's a little bit of bias in this podcast right off the bat.
He's not going to weigh in, but he is going to weigh in.
Well, I guess, use your time. Not waste your time, but use your time. Should you use your time to watch the show? So we're going to start off with Rob. Yes or no, before going to reviews, should you watch, because this is a big commitment. This is not just 6 episodes, because it's 6, potentially 6, and another 6 for the 3 things. So this is a longer tail should you
objection? That's a bias. That's like saying you have to watch all 9 Star Wars movies.
you should get the full effect, but you don't. But leaving it on a cliffhanger is kind of stupid. So should
is it
you
technically
watch
a trilogy?
Yes.
It's 3 seasons. Can you call 3 seasons a trilogy?
Well,
3
I would
times
say
6.
it's a movie that's cut into 6 segments. Like if you just watched it all in a row like I did, it's essentially a movie. They just made it in an episode. So should you watch this one, Rob? Yes or no? That's all I want to know. To people listening home, should they watch it? Yes or no?
Just say it, Rob. Say it, Rob.
No, yes or no? That's it.
Okay.
I want a yes or no.
Should you watch it? Should you spend 9 hours watching the show? No.
Okay. Andre, yes or no? No. John, yes or no?
Yes.
Pat, yes or no?
It's not 9 hours. It's only 2 hours, and yes.
Joey, yes or no?
I have 120 minutes to spare. Why not? Yes.
Okay, so that is the end of that, and now we're going to full spoilers. So if you're considering watching it, know that our panel of experts, 2 out of 5 recommends it. It's not like a dentist. 4 out of 5 dentists support the toothpaste or flossing. So let's say if you
and we know where Stu lies as well in this.
No, I honestly would say watch it. Like I'm fine with watching it because
there we go.
Because then how are you going to rage if you don't watch it? So I'm going to say
love it or hate it, you should watch it.
Yeah, love it or how are you going to make fun of it if you don't watch it? So okay, so of that, we are now going to jump into full spoilers. So put the air horns, put the alarms, whatever. We're going to go into full. So we're going to go full out. So if you want to watch the rest of it, please know that we're just going to ruin everything for you. So hopefully you have watched the show, and we're going to talk about everything in that right now. So Rob, we're going back to you. Your thoughts on the show. Shoot.
So, all right, listen, I'm going to try to.
Your son?
No, he had no interest in it. So I'm
okay, got it.
My son's 11 and a half, and he was like, no. So I'm going to come in from a different angle. I messaged John about this. I'm coming from a guy who grew up in the 80s. I'm, currently 44 years old. So this is my Transformers, right? This is it. This is my jam. Transformers, the movie, the cartoon. I was emotionally devastated when Optimus Prime was sacrificed so damn early. I hated Rodimus Prime. You destroyed my childhood. I left Transformers for a while. I did, right.
It traveled back in time and slapped the Optimus out of your hand.
That's right. I was
crying on the floor.
What did you do?
Okay.
I was not a fan of the Beast Wars. Like I saw it and I was like, it's not for me. I grew out of that era of stuff. Went to the Transformers movies that Michael Bay did. I hated them. This show, when I watched the trailer for it, I had hope because maybe I'm wrong. I think the best Transformers movie in modern era is that Bumblebee movie. And that first 6 minutes that takes place on Cybertron is what I was like, oh my God, this is what I want. I want this. And I thought that this trailer, when it dropped originally, was a pretty good representation of what I was dying to watch. So flash forward, or I guess rewind to this past Thursday, I threw it on after work, super excited, fell asleep halfway through episode 1, right through until episode 3. Had to rewatch it again. I was like, what is happening here? And I'm talking. I watched it at 4:15 in the afternoon.
But that's
your
prime
nap time, though.
That's part of your siesta period. That's
your prime nap time.
Normally,
I had my margarita and I was trying to find
text
the
going,
straw.
hey, Rob, where are you?
Technically, people who don't know, if Rob's not at the pool, swimming and drinking, he doesn't know what's going on. So technically, that's part of your sleep period. It's a siesta. So I don't fault Transformers. Typically that's when you take your nap.
I think a lot of people are on that schedule now, though.
Yeah.
So I'm coming at it.
Formers now.
What's that?
I'm gonna call you nap formers.
You should totally. So I'm coming from it from a perspective of what I really wanted to see in this thing. And I don't need to get into full spoilers because everybody else is going to. Here's what I found problematic. One is that I couldn't understand Soundwave at all. Like, I don't know who was doing the voice and the mixing for that. I couldn't understand him. The original, the Generation 1 cartoon, I could understand what he was saying. Number 2 is the guy who is playing Optimus Prime, Jake Fushi. Okay, listen, dude,
AKA
you have
not Peter Cullen.
right. You have got the pipes. And this kid's like a wonder kid. I mean, he was on Ellen when he was like 14 years old because he was just has a super deep voice. But he was doing an impression of Peter Cullen. I think we can all agree that Kevin Conroy is the definitive voice of Batman. But guess what? Jason Mera and some other actors in the DC animated universe have done their own take on Batman, and it's been fine. It's been great. They haven't tried to ape what Kevin Conroy did. Whereas Jake Fushi, you've got the pipes, bro. Make it your own. Don't do what Peter Cullen did, because to me it just seems like disingenuous. You're not making the role your own. You're doing what somebody else has done, and that really kind of irritated the piss out of me, right? This is 6 episodes. I know they're 24 minutes, but it was a slog. I will say episode 4, and I messaged John, was probably by far my favorite out of the 6. I thought episode 4 was great, and I had hope that episode 5 would kind of carry that momentum. It doesn't. It's not a fun. You're watching it. I know it's only a combined about an hour and 20 or whatever it is. It's just not fun, or 2 hours, I guess. It's just not a fun show. You're watching it and you're wondering why. And so for people like me who grew up with Transformers, thinking that this was going to be a resurgence of what we watched back in the 80s, this is not it. And I don't know why, because Voltron. We all grew up watching Voltron, and if you were a big Voltron fan, there was a long period of shit. And all of a sudden, that new Netflix show came out, and while it may have only been a couple seasons too long, they did justice to the show and made it relevant to where my son would watch it. No, it was a fun show, right? Modern, but it made it fun. They couldn't replicate that with Transformers, and I'm disappointed. And don't watch it, man. Go watch that Bumblebee, that 6 minutes on loop for 2 hours. Much better use of your time.
To be fair, for that Voltron show, season 1 was the best thing.
Oh my God.
I loved season 1 so much. And like Avatar Legend of Korra, it went up, and crashed and burned so quickly that I'm like, oh, what happened to the show I loved?
I think there's going to be a budget disparity between the Voltron show and this Transformers show.
Well, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think
you don't think so?
No. Because even the voice actors between Voltron, I was like, these are quality actors for I would say the actors in Voltron were probably even more known in a budget on that than any of the voice actors from Transformers. Because the Transformers.
No, I think Voltron had a better budget. I think Voltron had
DreamWorks.
probably.
Tons of budget.
Yeah.
Exactly. Listen, this show could have been what we were promised in the trailers, and it wasn't. And that's what was so disappointing to me. And I get it. Like, sometimes that happens, man. Trailers can oversell a movie, and it happens all the time. But I'm disappointed in this. I'm pissed off because I wasted my time, because it did feel like 9 hours to me, and I hate watched it for this show this week. So thank you for that.
I told you could eject after 2 episodes when you're like, oh man, 2 episodes.
I just had to wake up. Man. What happened?
No, you got to watch through the pain. So now thank you for your honest feedback, Rob. I'll put that on the survey that once you.
That was the nicest feedback I've ever given.
That is 100% correct. All I was waiting for you to say, you know what could have made this show better? This guy, I know. Hammer.
No, because you know what? Even he wouldn't have succumbed to voice acting on this fucking show.
He depends. If he was Optimus Prime, I'd be down. All right, Andre.
Okay.
There you go. Andre, please.
So again, I think the trailer got me excited. I did like the overall look of the show. Like I don't mind that animation. A lot of people don't like it. I thought it was very cool that it looked like their new toys and stuff. But I think my biggest problem with the show is that it didn't know what its intended audience was. And I don't know if this show was supposed to be to introduce new kids to Transformers to like it. Was it for an older fan like myself, or people for the classics? And I don't think it did that. Like Rob said, it wasn't fun. There wasn't a single moment in the 6 episodes that I was like, oh my God, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. None of that. There was no
What? Jetfire?
No, I'm talking like originality of any concept in it. And I really got to say, like, when John told me, I didn't research who it was, but it's Rooster Teeth that did this. And I'm like, you know what? Those guys, like I'm going to say it, you know what? Just, if you don't love something, don't do it. These guys clearly did not like or know anything about Transformers. And I don't care. I'll say it to their faces. This was a travesty / insult to it. Like, you guys remember the War for Cybertron games? Those guys love Transformers. Those guys redesigned the characters. The video game was awesome. The war made sense. You had a clear definition of who or why they were fighting. In this one, I got to say, Megatron sounded cool and whatever, but like, you're like, okay, why don't you give us a flashback episode to see what's going on? You know, the original 80s cartoon, you know, we knew that there was a war and they left Cybertron, and then they explained why they were still on Earth and doing what they were doing. This one, they just said, oh, well, the Decepticons were miners and the Autobots, I don't know what they were doing. They were just on top. You know, so it just, there was no heart and soul of what Transformers is. Optimus Prime, like the best Transformer, like the leader. He was just like, I don't want to say he was a dick, but every time his second in command was like, are you sure we want to do this, Prime? Why are you going after the Allspark? He just said, trust me. He didn't do anything. He didn't even fire his gun once.
He got his ass kicked in that first episode.
And hit one dude. Got his ass kicked the whole time. I'm like, what am I?
This is an origin here. He's not gonna be able to fight out of the gate.
It's not his origin. If it was his origin, they would have showed
the Ryan Pax.
Ultra Magnus rebelling against Megatron after was it Alpha Trion was murdered or whatever?
Yeah.
Again, no history. Listen, if you want me to read a book, a comic, watch another cartoon, tell me at the beginning of this thing, that's what I'm saying. No kid is going to sit down and watch that and be like, this is interesting. On that note, I have 3 nephews. 2 of them really dug that Transformers where it was Bumblebee and Windblade. Again, not great animation, but that was fun, bright, colorful, and you understood what the Transformers were. They actually transformed and did stuff. Why did I watch 6 episodes of Transformers running to places on Cybertron? Running!
Optimus transformed a couple times.
Yeah, who else? And then,
why? He's right. They ran all the time.
Cars have their car mode. Again, lazy. This was like, honestly, I would like to see that as Rooster Teeth t-shirt, man. I would slap the shit out of these guys. Like for real, like not impressed at all. I don't know how those guys got big after, you know, Red versus Blue, whatever.
Red versus Blue was hilarious.
They made Ruby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ruby. Yeah.
Again, Ruby to me just ripping off actual manga, and they called this Transformers an anime. Get that out of here. This is an epic failure. If this is going to be 2 other parts, they need to hire a writer or go and get guys who've written Transformers stuff. Absolute waste of money, waste of an IP, because they murdered it. Like, they didn't tell you anything and give you a reason to care. And then the last episode, oh, I'm just going to stay here, Prime. You get on the Ark and fly off. That was ridiculous. Prime was like the worst leader like we've ever seen. Bumblebee, unlike his character at all. Fine. If I got to say one cool thing about this.
At least he could talk.
You know what?
Beep, 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 beep.
But you know what? This 6 episodes made me appreciate the first 3 Bay movies. 100%.
Oh my God!
For sure, 100%.
Oh,
the only good thing I'm going to say about this is I like the concept of the Matrix giving power and the whatever of
Allspark
knowledge, and I like that they had that duality. But then they just erased it with a virus. So like, learn to write. This was horseshit writing. Like, you could put 10 monkeys in a room, not 100. 10 monkeys on typewriters, 5 days they got a better Transformers series.
Socially distanced monkeys, not all crammed together
in their own private rooms. Okay,
so you liked it then?
Loved it.
All right, let's move up the. So clearly we have a pattern here. Surprise, surprise. John, What is your thoughts? Please share.
Okay, first order business. The original Transformers animated show, the plots were paper thin. They had episodes where guys were swimming in pools of gold.
John,
and it would
the answer was energon. That's what it is. What is we looking for? Energon. That's all the plot I need to know. What do you?
And your Autobots started being able to fly, and then somehow they just stopped being able to fly. And they were only able to fly when they're in robot mode. So if we talk about shitty plots,
hang on a second. The '80s though were full of cocaine, so you got to give them a little bit of a break, right?
Yeah.
Young Rob with his cocaine and his Transformers slapped out of his hand. Oh, my childhood.
My childhood.
Slapped out of his hands, and all of a sudden he goes, "You got the touch."
Second order business. Optimus Prime is kind of a dick because in the Transformers movie, he knows exactly how the succession of the Matrix happens, but he gives his homie, his top soldier, Ultra Magnus, the Matrix, going, "Here you go, it's going to light our darkest hour." Not going, "Oh, by the way, the Matrix chose me through this elaborate Prime passing down thing, but I'm just going to hand it over to you."
I can give him a pass as he's on his deathbed. When you're dying and you don't have time, you're like, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, by the way, I am dying."
No, that's not true. He could have totally been like, "Hang on, send me somebody else." But it's not. Here you go, Hot Rod.
But based on the movie, to be fair, whoever touched it got it. So, like, it was Rodimus who touched it, and then therefore got the power. So
it wasn't like
he was chosen.
It wasn't a Mjolnir thing.
Random touch. This is as random as Mandalore, like the freaking Star Wars
Metachlorians.
Yeah. So clearly, this
Andre's favorite thing of Star Wars.
Yeah. I was gonna, you know, it's anyways. So
wait, John, are you reviewing Transformers the movie from '86?
I'm pointing out that Optimus Prime is not this golden example of a great guy.
First off, Optimus Prime in that movie can do whatever he wants, because the first scene he drives in like a badass, transforms in the air with Michael Bay explosion, shoots down 12 dudes with his gun, fights hand to hand with a whole bunch of dudes, turns his hand into like a weapon, fights Megatron one-on-one, and is a badass. He has his chest shot in and he's still fighting like a badass. At that point, he can do anything he wants. His chest, like his like abs, were basically destroyed, and he's like, "Yeah, I got to keep on going." Yeah, at that point, do whatever he wants.
Like send his buddy to his death.
This show, he gets his face punched in 12 times, and he's like, "Let's keep on going." I'm like, "Oh boy!"
And also, his abs did this really weird.
This is the same moment in Gladiator. Honestly, when Maximus is like, "Release the," like when he says, "On my mark, release hell." At that point, I would follow him into the into hell itself. It's what you do as a leader and what he says. And Optimus doesn't say anything where I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna follow you to the ends of the earth." He just
Autobots run.
He doesn't say Autobots transform and roll out. At least that I'd be like, "Yeah, transform and roll out." His till all are one is the most ridiculous thing. I'm like, it doesn't.
And Megatron said it before him, so it lost all credibility. So you're just like, what the hell?
Because that seems a very
John's.
That's right, Andre. So that's like the Hobgoblin saying, with great power comes great responsibility.
Keep on going, because your arc about
it's a universal lesson.
Keep on going. He didn't even, even in Transformers the movie, one will stand, one will fall. Like, again, badass lines everywhere. If I was hearing Optimus Prime say that on the top of a mountain, I'd be like, "Yeah, Prime, I got your back. Whatever you want."
He can't say that now, though, because this is the origin story. Like, this
when
is
does
the
this
setup.
movie tell me that this is the origin?
In season 3, 24 episodes in, then he can say those lines, because that's the conclusion.
He did say freedom is a right of all sentient beings in the show. In this show,
yes.
He did say that.
Yes,
I felt that Ultra Magnus said that way more often than Prime did, though.
I would follow Ultra Magnus more than Optimus Prime, but carry on, John. Clearly, you bring the positive back, because you're not helping yourself right now.
Because Stu just took out all the air out of your sails. So
no, Optimus Prime's still a dick. No matter how you look at it, Ultra Magnus's fingers didn't even fit in that Matrix, but. I don't know. I liked what it was trying to do. It was trying to do something a little different. The storyline of, like how the Decepticons rose. There was a couple of characters in there who were struggling with the whole idea of what was going on. And impactor and jetfire. I like the things that they started to introduce. Definitely, it's not as actiony as your Michael Bay and things like that. And I think it was pure fan service. If you're anyone who's even looked at the toys or wanted to collect these new toys, it was just like a showcase for every one of these toys. And I'm sure Pat's going to cover the little details that you see in regards to that. But I appreciate it for what it's trying to do. And when you watched it to the conclusion, and I guess you guys weren't excited over the next one when they're actually going to be on Earth. Like, I think that's the potential.
That's not what it was. It was Teletran 1. I don't know what it was trying to say. I had to Google it, but essentially it was like, a ship's been detected. Like, they're going to be boarded by pirates. Like that, they're not on their way to Earth. We're not going to meet Ship and Spike. They are going to be boarded by some other
second one could be.
Rob, you don't know that yet. They want you to keep watching to find out whether or not they're being boarded by pirates.
The third one already says he's going to meet the Beast Wars characters. So yeah, it's the third one that we're going to meet. I hope.
So the second one could be the equivalent to the movie where they're flying in and
I honestly hope
is flying the ships.
The second
Megatron
one
attacks the ship.
the junk robots from the Transformers movie. Where was Bond? Mini Bond. Like, I need the universal translation.
Spoiler alert, Rob. Look at the promotional package for Earthrise. See this?
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Okay.
Look, you see this? That's Earth. Look.
Are you sure that's Earth? We don't really know.
It's also called Earthrise.
All I want to say is I was missing Cup in my life. Where was the gritty old veteran? Where was that guy?
He's in the next one.
He was taking a nap.
A
siesta.
It was me. We're in the pool just floating around. What time is it?
It was 3 o'clock Cybertronian time.
Where was he unlaying his energy snacks? Like, here, have a stick of gum. As I do that. Okay, keep on going, John.
I'm done. Go to Pat.
Wait. What was your positivity? Wow, that was great. All right,
Pat, bring the positivity train. Let's keep.
So I enjoyed it. I think I would watch it. I think it's worth a watch.
Again?
Well, certain parts of it is definitely worth watching. The positives I feel about this show is that it brought to life. I feel like if all the Transformers cartoons were done this style, it'd be pretty good, right? Story notwithstanding, because I feel like it's in a weird length. I feel like it should either be longer or shorter, right? The 2 hours that they gave it, broken into 6 episodes, is just a weird length. Like, if they went a little longer and they were able to kind of expand some of the things that Dre were talking about, right? Or if they made it shorter, so it was just like a one-shot movie, I feel like it would be really good.
Netflix did their own version of Quibi. They made a whole movie, and they're like, it'd be better if we just cut this into 20-minute episodes.
Cut that up.
It felt like Quibi,
right? Because but based on, like, graphically and the design of it, and I mean, as somebody who buys the toys and likes the toys, I really enjoyed it. Right? Like, it was like John was saying, it was basically like watching my toys come to life. Right? And
it's a good point, because the original series, the guys don't look like their toys.
Yes.
A lot of the time.
Right? Like, I mean, like you guys were saying, even the 80s TV show, and John was saying, the plot's paper thin, but this plot I still think has some merit. They're basically in the middle of a war. We don't know why the war happened, which is why I'm saying maybe it should have been a couple of episodes longer, right? But the gist of it is there's a war, and they're going to try and win the war, but Optimus Prime realized he couldn't win the war, so he decided to just dip. That's basically what happened, right? And it you might have been able to do it, like, tell the story a little better if you had more time, or was forced to kind of condense it a little more, cut out half an hour of fluff, right? But then they kind of went this, we have this story, we have all these ideas, let's put a little bit of it, let's talk about the gladiatorial piss, let's talk about the mining, but not really look into it. Right, but the gist of it, the general structure of it is very, like, kind of very, very on point of what I would think the origin of the Transformers were, which is something's happening on their own planet. they have to get out. And then they end up on Earth, spoiler alert, Rob, because they are going to Earth for the second 6 episodes, right? And then we go from there, right? So like, as somebody who buys the toys, it was basically a giant toy commercial, which was what the 80s cartoon was anyways. Maybe you guys don't remember that.
Yeah.
Right? But the 80s cartoon was a toy commercial. This is a toy commercial. This is definitely not a toy commercial meant for kids, right? I think this is a toy commercial meant for
adults, yeah.
Collectors.
Yeah, the 20-year-olds, like you know, the 20, 30-year-olds who are kind of like, oh, these toys look so cool.
I gotta have all those versions of that one guy.
Yeah.
Even though it showed up for 1 second.
It's like I need 15 of these guys because, like, you know, I need 15 of these refractors.
He's holding up a refractor.
Right?
He didn't even transform into a camera. Wah, wah.
Sure. Right, and there's a lot of things that don't have to do.
They're not going to use that on Cybertron.
Exactly.
Why not?
There's no need to transform into a camera in Cybertron.
It seems like a police state. So why would they transform into a
it's because Stu. Okay. Those guys are grunts, and on Cybertron, the grunts don't get to transform. That's why. It wasn't until they hit Earth that they needed to blend in and they turn into a camera. But anyways. That's my opinion of it. I think it's definitely worth watching, just on the merits of like the graphical, right? Now, and the reason why I told John this, but the reason why the characters actually look like the toys was that they actually use the same AutoCAD models that they use for designing the toy in the animation. You might call it lazy, but I call it toy accurate.
Right? Pat, I think you nailed it on the head. It's product placement, and every one of these products is now movable and they have a voice. So it's what it is.
If you actually,
Pat said you could see the peg holes.
Yeah, you can see the peg holes.
And who's the guy that jumps on the back, the cog or whatever? He actually connects two figures via the peg holes.
If you watch the TV show and
no
you see
Elita-J,
Powell, you'll see the same octagon on his hexagon on his shoulders, but it doesn't. It feels out of place. But on the toys, the hexagons are for weapons. But you'll see those hexagons on their character models, right? So they did but it was kind of meant for the product placement.
Got it. Okay.
But I basically watched a 2-hour toy commercial and I kind of enjoyed it.
Perfect.
But I think though that toy commercial is completely geared and aimed towards you, because we can see behind you, you're a massive Transformers fan, and you're the guy that's going to go out and buy all the toys and everything else of that.
Fan service, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna. Okay, well, let's give Joey her time to shine, because I think you guys all, including even myself with my 2-minute rager. I'll go quickly. Joey, take your time, and then at the end, I'll throw some positive back into it, because clearly, go for it.
I don't think I can save anything after Andre and Rob talk about it. I'll be honest with you. If I'm ever going to come into another podcast in here, I'm going to be like, I'm going to call Andre and Rob first and be like, all right, what are you guys going to say?
We need you to be positive here. That's why we brought you in. We need you to bring in the sunshine. This is it.
Okay. I actually have, I watched it, like I just marathoned the whole thing, right? Because one, I was already looking forward to it. So I already built up the hype on myself. Second, I come from the fandom of it being I'm like a second generation. That's a weird thing to say. Kind of a second generation fan through my uncles. So I was babysat a lot by my uncles, who are probably in their like mid 40s to late 40s now. And to me, when I was a kid, what was instilled to me was like girl toys. It's like, how do you feel about this My Little Pony? And I'm like, no. And
I don't give a shit.
And I've always wanted the Transformers, and I've always wanted to buy the toys, but it was never bought for me. And Pat, you said it, man. You're kind of like, my toys came to life, and it was so accurate. And to me, it was kind of like, and I'm a huge fan of art, and I'm a huge fan of animation. And if you get those two things right, I'm almost suckered into it. And I'm like, oh, wait, what was the story about? Because I was like way too distracted on the environment concepts, oh my God, like even first episode, I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was like these little flickery things that are very like DreamWorks like animation, where they made particles kind of like come to the environment. Those kinds of things. There was like a lot of I don't know if you guys remember the Voltron.
It helps the realism.
Yeah, you know the Voltron quintessence, that kind of blueness. I like that they showed a lot of that because that's what got me in Voltron too. So there was a lot of artwork that was really important to me in animation that really, really, really worked for me. And it was honestly, it was one of those fangirl things where like, you guys know I'm a collector. And right when Ultra Magnus came out in Walmart, I was like, okay, well, I get paid next week, but I could also just eat fruit this week. So, and I'm just going to go to my mom's house. So yeah, you know, I'll get it. So honestly, it was one of those things where I was a kid again. You know, I was the kid that I could never be because the boy toys were never, you know, okay with my parents. And another thing as well, this I think was the first Transformers things I've ever watched that had that much of the fembots in it. You know, Chromia was in it. Elita was amazing in it. I loved Elita's character because she was like the moral compass and kind of the one that's kind of like, well, I'm asking you these questions, Prime, because I need to know, because you're leaving me in charge of so many things. Like Prime literally, it was the one thing was like, Elita, thank you. And I was just like, yeah, that's the least you can do, Prime. Like you
that awkward Jim and Pam relationship between
it was really weird. I'm like, are they boyfriend girlfriend? Like, what is the situation?
They needed more time. They needed more time.
It was like episode 2 or 3 where I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. They either needed more time or not at all, and cut that entire thing.
They just need people who could write. Why did we have several moments of Starscream trying to be the leader and saying, if I was the leader of the we did
that's what
that
Starscream
one
does.
time. Why did the show focus on Jetfire? Was he the main character? Because they wasted so much time. These guys, I said it, they're just poor writers.
Okay, let's go back.
Okay,
I get it. You've raged enough against the machine. Okay, let's give Joey her chance. Okay,
nice, I like that. Machines.
I like it. But no, I actually think that Rob and Andre's points are good too, because I felt those things as well. Like with the right. Okay, so for me it goes, haha, I got this toy at Walmart. And then 2 was just like, ooh, animation was so good. 3, all of these characters that are my favorite are there, and again they're talking, they're doing their thing. And then 4th is the story. You know, so like I'm gonna agree with you. Like that, as a person who reads comics on a weekly basis, I'm kind of like, this is like reading an issue 1 with a really great variant cover, and like the first few pages are like, wow, and then the last few pages is just like, ooh, there's more variant covers, so I'm gonna get those. That's exactly how it felt. It wasn't in issue number 1 that I was kind of like, God damn, I'm gonna get issue number 2, and then I'm gonna get the trade paperback, and then I'm gonna get the box set. Not one of those things. You know, so for me, again, it goes art really, really high, toy collecting really, really high, storyline pretty much at the bottom. But again,
passable.
I still really want to stress out that like one of my favorite parts about this whole thing was Elita. You know, and I like that they used Elita and that they didn't use RC, because okay, I love RC. However, we already had enough of her. Like, let's give it to someone else. And, you know, Elita was there. Chromia was there. Moonracer was there. Also, kind of don't understand the part where Moonracer was being held by Prime because her limbs were all taken off. And then the next episode, it was like, she was fine. I'm like, who fixed her? But anyway.
Well, clearly it was either Ratchet or the other dude. I forget the other guy that was the medic. It's like, he can fix
Red
Alert. Sorry, yeah.
Like, in half a day you fixed her, like all her limbs.
She's important.
They fixed Cog after Cog had a hole blown through him. So
I know.
Like a giant hole.
Yeah. Although the other Transformers that were all lying there in the medical bay, they're jobbers. Clearly, it's like, you guys are, or maybe they just didn't have the parts. That's pretty much it. It's like, I know you need to be fixed, but we can't find the parts. You just lie there for a while longer until we.
They harvest them for the other robot, the Autobots. That's why. That's why they all were like the same models.
Can I just ask a quick question of?
But wait. Before, let's let Joey finish, and then you go on.
No, honestly, that was about it. Like with me, if you're a big animation fan and if you're a big collector of these toys, so guys like John, Patrick, when we go to like TF Con, which by the way is canceled.
2021, Joey, 2021.
Yeah. And you know, the 80s action toy figures, all that kind of stuff, like that's the demographic that I think this was for, to be honest. It's pretty much your 30s to 40s crowd. So there was still a place in it.
Clearly the toys, Andre, they have a convention. It's enough, more than 3 people. So it's clearly something. But Rob, go for it.
I just quickly wanted to ask, because we talked about the animation style, but can anybody explain to me what was with the lips?
Oh, the Megatron PSLs?
Megatron and some of the other ones. Some of them, I think Elita-J just had like a straight mouth, but Megatron had these massive, like weird heart-shaped lips, and some of the others, and I was like, wait a minute, what is?
It made him look menacing.
No, in like a really fucking creepy way, man.
That's like, the point. That's the point. Yeah, it works.
Like, oh, this guy is like gonna, I thought it was the weirdest.
It was so luscious.
Yeah, it was so bizarre. Why do you have these lips on the Transformers?
Rob, it's the reason why I became leader of Decepticons. That's how he rose the ranks. He has luscious lips. That makes sense.
If Pat pulls out a Transformer figure that's got massive lips right now, I swear to God, I'm just walking.
In the toys, it doesn't look like that.
So this is what I'm saying, because yesterday when John and I were discussing this, we were discussing why Optimus Prime has this weird backpack. It's because it's on the toy, like this thing.
Right.
It's like it was in the show because it was on the physical toy.
Yeah.
So before we jump to the next thing, which Pat has done a really nice segue. So outside of Pat and Joey, clearly the question is, has this show influenced you to buy the toys? So Pat and Joey are clearly the people in the know.
They're all in already.
Before I get to them and ask how much they've spent, Andre, Rob, and John, even though the show is not to the level of terms of mythos and ratings that you'd want, are you interested in buying any of these toys? Andre?
The toys are cool. Oh, Andre.
Yeah, I'm asking Andre first. John.
Fine.
John.
Fine.
Good.
Andre, go for it.
Well,
Would you buy any of these toys for your nephews? Would you buy any of them?
I don't know if I'd buy them for my nephews because they wouldn't know what they're from, right? Like I do think the designs on some of these toys are cool. Like the Jetfire toy was cool. Like one of the toys I've
I was gonna say that Jetfire has both symbols,
right? So I would probably say I was interested in the toys before this cartoon, like anyways, but I never bought any of them. But I don't think that this show did a good enough job of making people want the toys if they did not have any baggage or experience with Transformers. Like, I don't think, like I said, Rob's son, who's 11, who could be the target age for watching a Transformers cartoon, he should have watched and said, oh my God, that's a cool thing. Oh, I can get that as a toy. But again, nobody did anything cool. And to be like, wow, that's neat. So if they were going to showcase these toy designs, they should have had them doing something cool. Like Megatron transformed once and then shot and didn't move or bowl over anything. Like if they showed them doing something cool, I think you'd want it. I think before, like the cartoons that I grew up, like look, I've got a freaking 18-inch Optimus Prime that doesn't transform because it's a damn cool figure, right? And he's a cool character. And I spent probably way too much money on it. But I would buy even more new designed Optimus Primes because it looks and references that, and it's the character that I want. So no, I wouldn't buy the toys based on what I saw in this show. And I can't speak for somebody younger, but because I couldn't be in their mindset. But I would think that there are better cartoons that showcase figures and stuff that you could get.
To be fair, Rob's son would only be interested if they had a Fortnite integration. So
I was going to say,
like
Fortnite
John
is
Wick
a hard
showed up in
juggernaut to
Fortnite, you'd be like, okay, I'm interested in Optimus Prime.
So
Rob, go for it.
It's interesting that you say that because, listen, my son, we grew up, I forgot to mention Rescue Bots.
Oh, yeah.
He watched Rescue Bots, and we got those toys because he loved them at that. It was for his age. And to go back what Andre quickly said earlier is that at least Rescue Bots gave you an understanding of why they were there, what they were doing. So you had that, right? Whereas this show didn't. But to go
multiple seasons.
But to go to the toys, though, the problem is, and it's not just my son. I speak to a lot of individuals who have kids who are my age. They don't play with toys at that age as we used to, right? So as to support what Andre is saying, you really need to do something to hook those kids nowadays to say, hey, I want to take me to Toys R Us or wherever. I want to pick up those toys. I want you to buy this for me. My kids don't play with toys the way that we used to. I mean, at 11, I was still rocking my Transformers and GI Joes and stuff like that, right? Like, it's different now, and so I think that, you know, if you know what Pat was saying, that this was a show that was essentially an advertisement for figures and this and that, I think it's really it's narrow in its scope of who it is targeted towards, because you're not going to get a lot of new eyeballs who are going to want to go out and say, hey, mom, dad, can you go buy me these toys?
To be fair, Rob, if we were their age and this generation, we'd be playing on video games on YouTube, on Xbox, PlayStation Network. Like, I don't know what we would have unlimited access to all the games all the time.
Right, you know, but you're proving my point in the sense that there's so many things now that take their eyeball, their time, or their free time. You need to do something to now support what Dre just said. You need to do something that's going to be like, holy shit, I want to do that at home. I want to play. I want to do this. And when you have Megatron, who turns into a pretty badass looking tank, who never moves, he stays static and blows somebody away, and then that's it. Like, hey, let's face it. One of the biggest things about Transformers, the audible hook we all have, is when they actually transform. Like, that sound, it gives chills. Like, you're like, what? I want that. I want to do that. Like, we always hear that in our head when we were playing with it. That you barely heard that throughout the
not
episode.
enough transforming sounds.
No,
Agreed.
So so that's what's going to hook kids to doing that, because they want to do that, right? So anyways, no, I wouldn't buy the toys.
And now, John, it is up to you. John, would you buy it for your young daughters right now? Would you buy a Transformers toy for either of them? Would they even care?
She it's kind of like unfair because she's already into that type of stuff anyways.
Because you buy all the toys, so she's just peripherally.
She likes to pick her own stuff too.
Dad, I want the Kill Bill action figures.
She randomly picked like
David Carradine. That's my boy.
Like
But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, the Jetfire figure is really cool. It comes with the two symbols and it comes with the mask. I don't remember if he comes with swords though. I don't think he comes with swords. Did he, Pat or Joey? No, I don't remember. He comes with like explosions that come out of his guns. Yeah, but I almost feel this is almost like the opposite. It's almost like an added-on bonus if you're collecting the toys. So it reinforces your kind of collecting. Like now, because like the seasons are actually named off the toy lines, right? So Siege was the first action figure line, which Pat has all of, right? And I don't know how much of it Joey has. Yeah, and then the next season is called Earthrise, which is what the current line hitting shelves right now is called. Yeah. So it's kind of like I feel like it's almost like this added-on bonus. If you're collecting these figures now, you can now watch this, kind of like how He-Man's used to come with a mini comic. They would support all the characters that you were buying these toys for. Yeah. It's like, oh, now I have all these Transformers, so now I can watch the show. It's based off them. But yeah, so I think Andre and Rob are correct that it's not going to be able to bring new people in, but it's going to satisfy those people that are collecting now, and give those toys motion and a voice, and like all the variants, like that Sound Blaster, who was the black Soundwave with the red thing that exists in a toy. Yeah. And then the Impactor has different versions, and things like that.
Lots of deep cuts. Andre.
The thing is, though, it's literally like, hey, we're going to make and spend money on this cartoon that is going to reinforce people who are already buying the toys. What kind of logic is that? Pat and Joey are already buying all those toys. They didn't need this cartoon. This cartoon.
Maybe they'll continue, or maybe they'll expand and get that other variant.
I think, but I think that's the thing, though, Dre. I think their intention was to try and bring it back. Their execution might not have been perfect, but otherwise you wouldn't be like, you and Rob wouldn't hate it. But what I'm saying is, I think the intent behind the show was to try and reinvigorate that. Whether or not they did a good job, that's up for debate. But your comment of what is the purpose for them to make a show to get me and Joey to buy more toys, I don't think that was the original intent. I don't think the pitch meeting was, hey guys, how do we make all of the toys that people are already buying to come to life? I think the pitch meeting was, let's create a Transformers show that's integrated with our current line that can try and hook more people to watch.
I also want to add that, like, I think this is the first time that Hasbro, because the third-party Transformers world is so big, and it's, like, the quality with it. Like, I remember I saw, like, the Combiners, when Combiner Wars came out and the third-party stuff came out. I have not seen a Bruticus look that good. You know what I mean? And the Siege line, I think, is the first Hasbro line that has been
looks good.
effective.
That looks really good.
Quick definition of third party.
Oh, sorry.
For people that aren't familiar with it.
Yeah.
There's a tiered world of Transformers.
Yeah, third-party toys are essentially, a lot of them come from China, and
Japan.
a lot of them are, in Japan. They're not made by Hasbro or Takara. So we're talking about stuff like mass toys, fans toys, and they're not licensed. So they're imported from these countries, and you can buy them in websites more than you could buy them in like a Toys R Us or like a Walmart. They're not, a lot of people say that they're bootleg as well. Okay, fair. Yeah, they are kind of bootleg, but also, they're you'll see their names as well. Like they have to switch it around. So Optimus Prime might be called like Matrix's Leadership's kind of thing.
Yeah.
First of all, nobody named it that. That was a horrible name. But that's what third-party toys are.
And to Pat to jump in, before the podcast started, I even talked about how the quality of the toys, they're bootleg in a sense, but they're way better in quality, the transformability. The issue is they don't come with the Transformer symbol. So you'll buy the toy, but they won't have the Autobots or Decepticon sticker because they're like, well, they can't have it. But like the Destructicons and like when they make Devastator, that third-party Devastator that I've been looking at in each Transformer costs $350.
I know.
That Devastator is so beautiful. It's so nice that I'm like, why even bother buying Hasbro? Because to Pat's point, they're so cheap that they're just like, okay, we'll put it together. When you line them up, and if you want to just Google this on the side, whoever's listening at home, and see the third party compared to the official one, it's night and day.
Yeah, you can just look up third party Transformers.
Yeah, which one's the bootleg? It looks like Hasbro's the bootleg one because
also Hasbro has come out with like the bigger bots. So I don't know if you guys have seen like the Omega Supreme.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, come on, like that was, how much was that, Pat? Like
it was like about $300.
Yeah, so even if
$300
it's a Hasbro thing, and mind you, he looks good. He looks
There's
great.
There's a Trypticon in the corner up there.
I know, I see it. I got distracted at one point when I was talking.
That's the Hasbro one. It's like 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like almost taller than it. And
almost. That's awesome. I'm almost taller.
In heels.
In heels, yeah.
Lifts.
Bumblebee at most. But it's one of those things where they're still expensive. Like you're not just buying these toys for kids because at one point you're kind of like, $200. Like, are they even with it? Like these toys are for displays. Like people that are going to be buying these toys are going to be like playing with it.
Yeah.
We're going to be displaying it in our like D12 shelves, just like Pat's doing over there. Right?
So quick point before we move on to the next topic, because I want to give Pat and Joey a quick question in regards to the toys. So over under, because I know you've already said you've bought the toys. Mm-hmm. Over under 10, Pat. But over 10 of this new line or under 10 of these toys?
Figures?
Over
by a mile.
How many did you buy?
You don't want him to count it. We're going to hear all podcasts.
There's 10 in here. There's
there's 10 on this shelf.
9 in here. And then there's like 7 on the floor.
So you bought pretty much every one of the new...
I have all of them except for like 3.
For those of you that can't see if you're listening to the audio, it's just IKEA cases stacked full of
So you bought pretty much all. And
that.
your philosophy when collecting is that you open them and you display them in your case.
What's the point of buying a toy if you can't display it?
I just want to, because some people buy the boxes, and I don't see any of Joey's before we slander anyone who just buys the boxes.
From this series, I have I have most of them. Like here's Red Alert, Sideswipe.
Yeah.
Like Prowl's up here, Hound's up there, Ultra Magnus is up there. Like I have them all, like way over 10.
So you like the toys, so the show got you more toys and you're down. Pat, is that what you're saying?
I would have got the toys with or without the show, though, to Andre's point.
Okay.
Wait,
but
Pat,
if you were missing a variant, you would have bought them.
I would have, yeah.
But the Ultra Magnus that you have, does it come with accessible cloak?
he does not have the fist of the North Star cloak,
which is awesome.
Right when that happened, I think was that episode 2 when the cloak thing happened with Ultra Magnus. Mysteriously entering the
that was the worst. That was the worst tease at the end of episode 1. It's like we all know who you are.
No, you can see him. His shadow. You can see him right.
His shoulders. Yeah.
Nobody else has that kind of shoulder.
Yeah, you knew it was him right away.
Okay, so let's talk about Ultra Magnus. So the thing about Ultra Magnus is that if they gave him more time, then it would have been cool because the toy for Ultra Magnus actually is
inside Magnus.
It's like a white Optimus Prime and his armor and his trailer. So if you gave the show another like 6 episodes and you kind of like slow, hang on, and you
Rob and Andre
you,
just lost their minds,
right? If you gave the show another 6 episodes, but you did the writing a little better, and like Dre said, you do an episode about like Ultra Magnus's like fallout of the war. You see all these versions of it. You'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool. But it was terribly rushed.
Or Ultra Magnus could have transformed and drove to Megatron instead of wearing a goddamn cloak. Where on Cybertron are you getting leather to make a cloak?
The same place you get the flags. The same place you get the flags.
Who's making all these flags?
They have a Vista print in Cybertron.
Andre, the Autobots are known for manufacturing, so they could have just made it themselves. But Joey, we're going back to you. Joey, of the toys that you've purchased, Pat is the far extreme. Are you over or under 10?
Okay, I don't have a big house like Pat.
Siege line.
I couldn't fit that much.
Siege line specifically, right?
Siege line specifically. Siege line.
Way over 10.
I think I have about 10, but it was only because I knew that I might dive way too deep into this whole thing. So I only chose to buy the ones within a particular size. So the side swipe stuff and the cog stuff, I didn't get those ones. So I just got the ones that were the same size as like Shockwave and obviously Optimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, and the Ultra Magnus one was like my guy. You know what? I have a soft spot for Ultra Magnus. So I know that we just made fun of him. However, one thing, it really made me think of Ben Grimm, and when he wears a trench coat, it's kind of like, who are you kidding right now? We're walking down Nancy Street, and you don't expect us to know that you're that dude made out of rocks, but you wear a trench coat, so that's fine. So my thing about Ultra Magnus, guys, and I know that I'm supposed to be talking about the toys, but I collect Ultra Magnus toys. So there was a third-party one from Fantoys that I really wanted, all that kind of stuff, never got it. But Ultra Magnus, it's because I have a soft spot for him, because I remember in the movie when I was a kid, it was like Prime was just like, here's the Matrix. Can you just like hold it for like a minute? And there was so many times where Ultra Magnus was like, I could be worthy. I could be the leader, kind of. And I mean, what a great leader would have been, because he could carry all those bots in his back. That was my thinking when I was a kid.
Get on my back.
Yeah.
To be fair, Ultra Magnus was too busy solving unsolved mysteries. So he was too busy
the conspiracy theory
working on aliens and like swamp monsters and death. Ultra Magnus was a busy guy. He was,
but I think if he had been given the chance to have the Matrix of Leadership, he would have been like, you know what, I'm done with the side projects, bro. Like I'm doing this kind of thing. Yeah. But I just thought he was always so like, he was always trying to prove that he was like the next person in line, but he just got to hold it for a little bit, and Rodimus ended up getting it. So
he actually had a compartment that opened up, and he put it into his compartment. Yeah. He was very misled.
He was ready. Just, John, you can be a holder. Doesn't mean you use it. You can just hold on to things. I can hold on to lots of stuff myself.
Optimus should have said that. He said, my greatest friend Ultra Magnus, can you hold this Matrix till it determines who's worthy to be fair, don't whip it out in the middle of getting your face shot off.
He was vague on purpose. He didn't say, Ultra Magnus, you're going to open it. He just says,
he said light our darkest hour. And
he didn't say it will light. He didn't say you will open it to light our darkest hour. It just said it will light our darkest hour. He didn't point to him and say you will do it. So leave it alone.
It didn't.
You dummy.
Right. I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was intelligent. He would have been a great leader. But it's like Abin Sur giving it to Hal Jordan and be like, "Can you just hold this for a sec? Because there's this guy.
Hold this ring. You're not worthy."
Yeah, he's gonna come through in like half an hour. But can you just hold it? Like
hold it for Guy Gardner or hold it.
Yeah. He had no options though. But like Prime had options. He didn't give it to like Rod. I mean, Hot Rod didn't
give it the trailer.
He had to grow a trailer. Come on.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. This
is fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. We have a whole different podcast talking about the problems of
the podcast of Ultra Magnus got screwed.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Okay, so
I thought Bumblebee in the show was kind of cool though.
Let's be quiet for a second.
You'll get to that.
So, Joey, quick question. Because I don't see any of your Transformers, are you? I don't want to slander anyone. Do you open them or do you leave them in the boxes? Because
I have no self-control. I have absolutely no self-control. I open them because here's another thing. When I was growing up with my uncles, those uncles did not really open those boxes, and my grubby little hands would just be like just one. What about just one paladin, guys?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I was like, no, you can't. So now I just open every single thing.
So your uncles that hold, do they still have all those toys then? Is that a thing that still
She
happens?
took them all.
Some of them do, and some of them, one of them live in Vancouver and the other two live in Australia. So the ones in Australia, because they moved in the Philippines, they don't have everything anymore. But I don't know if you guys are really into like the Asian, like like early 80s stuff, but Ultraman, Shider, Voltus 5, Mazinger, like all that kind of stuff, and Transformers, that was all them. So
shout out to your uncles out there, wherever they may be in there.
There you go.
And
Shout out
please,
to all uncles.
Yeah, shout out to all uncles, and also mail that stuff to Joey so she can open it up, man.
Shout out to all uncles who teach their nephews and nieces about toys.
Yes.
Yeah. And also buy them the correct toys. Let's do that.
Correct toys. I like
the
that.
correct toys. Okay, so we're gonna jump over to the worst character in this 6 episodes. Before we get to the best, who is the worst character? Rob, go for it.
He's gonna be like all of them.
Well, that's what was my
the worst.
Soundwave. It's got to be Soundwave for Rob.
Rob is like, I never thought I'd need subtitles for Soundwave.
No, but come on. Okay. Honestly, though, did anybody understand what the hell he was saying? It was so poorly. Like, I don't know what they did on the mix down of his audio. It was horrible. Like, you couldn't understand a word he was saying. I'm going to go with, and I don't mean to steal Dre's thunder, but I'm going to have to go. Soundwave was a piece of shit, but I'm going to go with Optimus Prime.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because you know what? Because in the opening scene, Optimus Prime got his ass handed to him. And I was like, is this before you're supposed to be like the leader of the Autobots? Like, I wasn't quite understanding. And then I was like, oh no, he is the leader of the Autobots. And the dude can't fight with shit. Like, I didn't understand. Like, he was, as Andre said, and I feel like really bad, aping what Andre was saying, but Prime just kept running. Like, let's get out of here. Like, I was like, I don't understand, man. Like, I get sometimes you don't always have to sit in battle and fight. Sometimes it's best to, cut your losses and bolt. But that seemed to be all Optimus Prime wanted to do. He was not the Optimus Prime that I remember or I grew up with, or any iteration of Optimus Prime, whatever leader of the Autobots ever, except for Rodimus Prime, because that guy was a piece of shit too. But
you got a bum rap.
Don Johnson kissed my ass. No, it was horrible. I was really upset at Optimus Prime and how he turned out. And yeah, man, like I was just really, that's the worst character, because you're supposed to be something and you weren't, and there was no explanation, and it was, so piss off.
All right, Andre, you're up, buddy.
Optimus Prime. Like let's talk about how dumb he actually was. It's like, Megatron's going to use the Allspark as a weapon to make us all Decepticons. Let me take the Allspark, that's the soul of Cybertron, off of the planet. But Prime, what will happen if we take it off of? I don't know. I'm willing to take that risk. Megatron's like, dude, if you take that thing off, you could do more damage than me. Prime's like, where's the ship?
Get me out.
Didn't inspire anybody.
Yeah.
Didn't have a gun. Like, just again, whoever wrote this thing, hand in your Transformer card, get the hell out of Cybertron, and give it to, again, 10 monkeys, social distance, that didn't even have to watch Transformers, come up with a better Optimus Prime.
Andre, I have a question for you, actually, because I know that you've read some things as well, but like, who do you think would have been like a great candidate for, kind of reviving this whole thing?
For doing Transformers?
For doing
a writer, you mean?
A writer?
Can we shout out to our friend, Mr. Zub? Mr. Zub? Can we just throw him in there for
I think, honestly, I think anybody who has a passion for it could write it. Somebody who I would like to see like a Warren Ellis, his take on Transformers. If I was going for somebody who could make it kind of all around to appeal to not only kids, but also like the prior people like us older people, I would say
Adults, Andre, we're called adults.
even like adults, I would go even like a Jeff Johns, an Al Ewing. There's so many people, right? Like, like
Okay.
it's just really sad.
I would give it to the boys or the guys at Boom Studios, Arun and his team. They're killing it with Power Rangers. Like they're murdering it with the Power Rangers line.
Like that entire studio does a really good job at taking existing properties and
they're
like
Buffy, everything. They're killing it.
Buffy, the WWE comic is actually really good. But
like if they could participate in it somehow, they would kill it.
Okay, so Andre's got his point.
Legit
good. John, who is the worst character?
I'm gonna pile onto the train so I can make a great clickbait title for this, and I'm gonna say Optimus Prime is the worst. He gets his ass kicked at every corner and makes a lot of dumb decisions.
Yep.
He only branded his axe. He branded his axe once in the very last episode for maybe 3 seconds.
It takes a lot of effort to manifest an axe. It's like it's like in what's it called, Pacific Rim, when you whip out the energy sword at the end of the fight. You're like, oh, why don't you lead with the energy sword? no, we got to save it.
John does the same thing with Dragon Ball. Why are you wearing the weighted suit now? Just take it off. No, I gotta go with the weighted suit first. Then I'll take it off. So my power is higher. There's a Robert's rule of order when it comes to fighting. You just can't go with your best stuff in the beginning. You got to slow.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff.
You don't do your triple spin kick right off the bat. You wait.
You got to
end.
Well, Optimus Prime didn't even show up with fists to fight. He was just like, hit me, Megatron.
He literally got his ass kicked in the beginning. And then Alita's like, hey, why don't you go to medbay? And Optimus was like, no. Dude, you're the leader of this whole rebellion. Maybe you should at least let him look at you.
That's a classic man doesn't want to go to the hospital type of thing. Like, your partner's like, should you go to the hospital? Nah, I'm good. It's like that touched me to real part. It's like, oh yeah, most guys wouldn't go to the hospital, even if there was a rebarb coming out of the guy's like I'll just put some tussin on it.
Everything's
give me a Band-Aid, give me some tussin.
Robitussin?
Yeah, Robitussin. Windex on the side of it, douse it over, I'm good. Let's carry on.
They're a Filipino robot. It's just like, you guys have Vicks? It's like, it's fine. Just put Vicks on it.
Pat, who is the worst?
I'm going to say Ultra Magnus. I think he was an idiot. That's it.
He did make a bonehead move.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me call these
If we're in a world where this Optimus Prime is the leader, I would have to go with his decisions, whether or not they're right or wrong. But Ultra Magnus, man.
Is that cloak, isn't it? Is that cloak?
That was the best part about it, actually.
Yeah, you're right. Aesthetically, it's the cloak. Joey, your thoughts?
Okay, I'm clearly wearing the shirt. However, I am going to actually say that Prime cheesed me a lot.
Yes, clickbait title coming up.
Because
everyone hates Optimus.
I'm always like second in command for a lot of my jobs. And I like being the second in command because that means that, technically someone else gets blamed for it. However, here's the thing. If I'm making a decision about something, I want to know why I'm making that decision. But I know, and Rob, when we watch the old cartoons, I know Prime is the guy who's better than Tony Robbins in terms of motivational speaking. He is just the guy that you're going to listen to because he has important things to say, and he will tell you and he will motivate you why you're doing what you're doing. He didn't do any of that here. Every single time Elita was kind of like, why are we doing this? Are you sure? All of that kind of nods. Optimus Prime's like, just trust me. It's fine. Yeah. Everything's going to be fine. And it's like, I don't know. I'm not confident in that.
Because then he went around the corner going, I don't know what I'm doing.
I felt really bad for Elita because I'm like, there's so much on her shoulders. You know what I mean?
So let me...
That explanation.
Okay.
I just think that just means Optimus Prime's a bad leader. It doesn't make him a bad character.
No, it's about everything. But Joey, any final thoughts before we jump, or is that because we keep on interrupting?
Yeah, that's. But also just because Pat was saying Ultra Magnus, and I know that I have a soft spot for him, but I don't really think that it was a good idea for him to ever go into the Decepticon base, cloak and all, and just be like, listen, we need to talk about this.
What was the point?
We could fix
Okay.
I'm like,
Send him a text.
No
Hey, let's
So-
meet somewhere neutral.
So let me jump in quickly for this. One, the Ultra Magnus thing made sense because if you watch the show, even all the Decepticons were like, Megatron was not like this before. He was reasonable at one point. What we're fighting for was for freedom of essentially like the show made it seem like the Autobots were the 1% and the rest of them were minors. It's like we have to do this because it's unfair. Because and Megatron kind of morphed into a different type of leader, a maniacal leader, because it seemed like everyone following him was like, oh, he's a good guy, it's reasonable. So Ultra Magnus also is like, they've all interacted. It's like, you're a reasonable person.
Oh yeah, because they were soldiers before.
And we interacted. So let me go with you with logic, because frankly, he was using logic at Optimus Prime, and to everyone's great points, Optimus Prime says, I got it. Don't worry, just follow me.
No, but honestly,
Optimus Prime actually gave no reason to he's like, I got a feeling. And that's not even like any type of thing. So Ultra Magnus, who had the logic and all the Alphatron protocol, was like, no, logically, it's like, we need to talk and try to do peace on the planet. Because Andre brought up the fact too, is like, you just take the Allspark off the planet, what happens? Everyone just dies? You're willing to sacrifice all these robots for what? Just for freedom, but you're willing to kill everyone for freedom? Then what is freedom? So then
did he have to go there by himself and not tell nobody? Because he could have just texted that and be like, yo.
That's what I'm saying.
So there's
all the knowledge that he has, he decided to walk into enemy territory by himself wearing a cloak.
Terrible decision.
So
like,
there's a question.
Something.
The other thing about Optimus Prime is that I think, to Andre's and Rob's point, they could have, like, watching Film School 101, we learned that in Film School 101, you watch Indiana Jones, and within those 5 minutes, you know who Indiana Jones is. Everything he shows you about his ingenuity as a human being, like, you watch that first 3 minutes, we're in the cave, you know exactly what type of character he is. Back to my point with Gladiator, is that Maximus, you know everything you need to know Maximus with him walking the scene, with him touching soldiers, and everyone's like, Maximus, and even him, like, fooling around, punching a guy in the stomach. You're like, this is why people respect him. Optimus Prime didn't interact with anyone. He just walked by all these soldiers that were on the ground. He's like, yeah, these guys are just hurt. And just like, he didn't go by
like, how you guys doing?
I don't be like, don't worry, we have this, we're gonna do this. Like, even him, like, just the little things, not instilling any type of leadership at all or empathy to anyone at all. He had no empathy to anyone. Like, yeah, we're just doing it because we're doing it. So you could see in the logic of the show why Megatron is like, I don't care what it is, I'm beating you no matter what the costs are, because you are truly a tool, and I don't think anyone understands. So you could see the two of them, why they're fighting each other so badly. So logically in the show it makes sense. They're just two terribly written characters that you're like, they're just, at this point, it's just a grudge match between two leaders who don't care about anyone else. So that is what Transformers is at the standpoint. It's not Optimus Prime's a good leader. It's just like, he's using this whole idea till all is one. Freedom is a thing that everyone should have as his excuse to justify a war. So he has no redeemable qualities. And all his leadership of, like, Ultra Magnus and Elita, he just throws responsibilities to everyone else, and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to do my own thing. Like, he doesn't do anything. He doesn't fight good. He doesn't give inspirational speeches. He does nothing. He is a caricature. He is truly a bootleg version of Optimus Prime. It's like a Doom.
Oh my God, guys, is this the third-party Optimus Prime, and he just leaked it to Netflix?
Yeah, like, maybe the real Optimus Prime is somewhere else, and this is his This is the
Fans Toys version of him.
Yeah, this is maybe
if there were 6 more episodes, we could figure out why he's like that.
So Andre and Rob would not make 2.
I actually never thought we would get lower in Transformers universe than Michael Bay having Bumblebee take a piss, right?
Yeah.
On the front lawn, and yet here we are.
So here we go. So we're gonna jump on a thing now, which the best Transformer of this series so far. Rob, who is the best person of the ones that you have? There are not many, but who's the best one?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna back up what Joey was been saying about Elita-J. She seemed to me to be the voice of reason, like an actual leader, and it was kind of like I was like, okay, like, I would rather follow her into battle. She seemed a lot more pragmatic in her and analytical in her what was happening. I agree with what Joey was saying. I'm glad that she, they shone a light on that character. And I guess if I have to pick one, I would
You have
pick
to pick
Elita
one.
1. Yeah. I
Awesome.
mean, yeah.
Okay, Andre.
Jetfire.
Hmm.
Like he had the sword. He was cool. First time we see him, he cut Starscream's arm off. That was cool. He had
Badass, yeah.
rockets that
Yep.
popped out of his back. He
The
flew,
flares.
formed, and did stuff. Again, if this series was called Rise of Jetfire or Jetfire
Yeah.
going to be the
Yeah.
coolest one,
Yeah.
Fire of the
Jetfire's redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jetfire done all day. They nailed it. But he was
Optimus Prime is a moron. Jetfire is the best.
No, but Andre makes a good point because that all happened in episode 4, and I remember I said that earlier. Episode 4 was probably the best of them for me, and so to Andre's point, yeah, Jetfire.
Even when Jetfire was like, put a bomb in my head, and everyone's like, what are your thoughts, Prime? Prime would say, no, I'm just going to trust you. No, we'll go ahead and put a bomb in your head. I'm like, oh my God, Optimus Prime, what are you doing? You agreed to let this guy put a bomb in his head? It's like, well, now we know. I'm like, what kind of leader are you, dude? Like, you should be like, no, I trust you. I
But
have
again,
feelings.
look how bad that writing was.
Yeah.
It just came up and he's like, oh, Prowl, you were this type of cop, weren't you? So you know that everybody has a bomb in their brain. Why didn't somebody hack that and be like, let's blow up Megatron in the Decepticon? Like, you know what I mean?
No, you have to install it separately. They made it, they basically said you had to install it
upgrade package.
because there are too many criminals. So they caught the criminals, they installed the bomb in the head, and then that's what
Wait a
happened.
minute. Wait, are we talking about Suicide Squad now? Is this what?
This is the backdoor pilot, the Suicide Squad.
Okay, yeah. Amanda Waller.
Oh, it's Amanda
Jackson
Waller,
of the
yeah.
Transformers. All right.
This is the Suicide
Maybe
Squad.
if there were 6 more episodes, we could figure out where the bomb came from.
Spin-off, Pat. Pat's gonna buy
I
the
need
toys
6
where the
more.
heads open
6
up and
more.
you insert the bomb into them. Headmasters. This the Headmasters. It's all coming together. John, who is the best one?
I liked Jetfire was really cool. I would have chose Jetfire, but I'll pick someone else. I'll pick Impactor. I thought he had a cool like story turn. I liked his speech about like I might have the Decepticon symbol, blah 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 blah. I forgot what exactly it
Fight
was.
for Cybertron.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool moment, and the whole like sacrifice and all that kind of stuff was really cool. And Pat has 2 variations of this character.
One has an Autobot insignia and one has a Decepticon one. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
We've already
John,
got to that
I think
point.
John, you were talking about the Jetfire when he was like, you don't have to like me, but you have to trust me. So something like that, that part?
No. Impactor gives a speech about like I might have the Decepticon symbol,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
it doesn't
yeah.
mean I am a whatever believe in Megatron's thing, and he gives a whole speech about like how Megatron started off like.
In the mines.
Like,
He's
kind
like,
of
this is
no,
the,
like
like,
a
that's
hero.
the point. He's like, when
Yeah.
we were in the mines together, I was like, oh, this is, but John loves it.
Liza
He's like,
Moira.
John likes that point because it reminds him of Justified, where Raylan Gibbons was working with Boyd Crowder.
We
in the
dug coal
mines.
together.
It's like, we dug coal together. This is what it's all about.
If
You
there
know, we
were
got that
more
relationship.
episodes, we can figure out why the Decepticons and the Autobots hate each other so much that they're basically just racist.
6 more
Yeah,
years.
Like
6
every
more
single
years.
Autobot, just by definition, hates Impactor for the color of his insignia.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Maybe if there were 6 more episodes, we figure out why.
Can you just take that insignia
Or they
off?
could
Like,
just hire a writer.
Well, it's already,
Yeah.
well, these 6 episodes are already out. Now we just need to fix it.
Andre, all you need is power wash.
You need
just
the
get that
Snyder
sticker
cut it.
off
You
your
need
your
the Snyder
chest,
cut
We
it.
need to
so.
Snyder cut this show. That's right.
He's
Okay.
opened the door.
All right, Pat. As John finished, Pat, who's the best character?
I'm
boy.
kind of shoehorned into saying Bumblebee here, right, John? I have
His
to, right?
boy.
Why?
Boy,
Because
that's his boy.
because if I don't say Bumblebee, and if Matt ever hears this, he's gonna be like,
It's
"You don't even
off-brand.
like Bumblebee in your show?
Off-brand.
You're off-brand."
So,
So I don't.
what was he selling the energon
Okay,
for?
wait.
Money?
So I'm gonna say Bumblebee because this version of Bumblebee I've never seen before, where he was not already a lackey and he just kind of like his own thing. Okay, kind of off topic, like how Joey collects Ultra Magnuses, I collect Bumblebee. So you see this? These are all Bumblebees
Guys,
here, right?
Yeah.
So I like Bumblebee, so I'm kind of shoehorning into saying Bumblebee here. However, I also want to know, like, I talked to John about this. He was selling energon for credits, but what does he need credits for? He lives in a
To
world
buy
where
Decepticon
everybody just
flags.
needs energon,
Yeah.
right? The only currency in everything everybody needs is energon, and he finds energon. He's trading it for credits to do what? Buy more energon?
This is the same conversation, Pat, that we had in Star Trek DS9. Why are Federation officers playing Dabu tables? They have replicators. They can replicate anything they want. Why are they gambling? I don't understand. What are they gambling
Like,
for?
you know, like
It's because the writing was so good.
Like, what is the point of gold plus press
maybe
platinum?
if there were
Like, I don't
6
know.
more episodes, we could figure out what credits are used for.
Okay, Joey, you have final thoughts on the best character in the show.
Well,
You can't say Ultra Magnus. Come on.
I can't. And
His
only-
hood
Can
was the
anybody
best
make a
one.
cloak for Ultra Magnus? I would like one for my Ultra Magnus.
I will make one. It will be made out of bounty.
Bounty sheets, colored gray.
Toilet paper.
Right? Put a little bit of texture.
Pat, I'll bring this for you.
Oh my gosh!
Where is that?
What is that from?
From the Drift, the Flame Toys Drift.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow,
And
fantastic.
it's got wires, so it would fit. Done. I'll
will
remember.
wrap around his head. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
dope. Right?
Sorry,
Boom,
Go for
custom.
You know-
Netflix custom.
Stu said I was already an avid toy photographer. Let's make this happen. I'm gonna drive up to, Markham. And, okay, we're good.
Set it up. Yeah.
Well, I guess you guys already know, but like I'm pretty impressed with Elita. Like
Yeah.
honestly, and I'm not trying to like pop my own collar here, but I've been an Elita many times over. Whether
You've been a robot.
Elita,
Are you saying that your leaders have been inept and then you have to step it up, or is that what you're saying?
have made bonkers decisions.
Are you a robot stuck in a Jim and Pam relationship at the office? That's what's happening.
It's too deep, guys. Too deep.
Deep cut. Yeah.
I always play the player too in a lot of situations in my life, and the movements that people make, I always philosophize about them, and I'm always trying to find answers as to why I'm making the same movements that I am, and why am I being patient at a time when I feel like I shouldn't be patient. Why am I giving away when I shouldn't be giving away? Like, it's a lot of those questions that I think like that's a lot of how girls think, like we don't just kind of want to follow suit if we don't know why we're doing it, because guess what? We're going to ask the whys, we're going to ask the whats, we're going to ask all those questions, because that's just the way that we are. And honestly, that's honestly why I like a lot of the integration of the fembots in this series, because a lot of them showed those little heart parts that maybe the boy bots couldn't do.
Are they actually called fembots though?
No, they're not. They were fembots.
I feel like that's a term.
They're
Yes.
fembots. Yes.
Sentient being females?
But-
I don't know.
But
They're just robots with a feminine design
Yeah.
that is
They are
completely
robots in
pointless.
disguise. They're not.
So Joey wants. I think Joey, you should write the spin-off that is Elita-J on Cybertron leading the leftover Autobots, and that would be a fire show.
And then
There's only
her
like 3 of
versus
them left.
Prime over who will be the true leader.
They can't. Prime's on Earth.
Yeah, but whatever.
She's now the default leader.
No,
of
but
the,
she
How many
wins the battle
Question.
on Cybertron. That'd be
So
cool.
now that this is done, the question is, how many Autobots are there? Because it's very vague. Like on the ship, there's like 6 people, and then like 20 people lying down. But the
Well,
rest
it's
of the planet,
easy. It's
How many
easy.
Autobots
That can count as action figures if you got
Because
20
I
You
minutes.
saw-
count the action figures that existed
no, but
and the
I
ones that went on
saw
the
the
plane.
stadium full of Decepticons, but
Yeah.
the Autobots seem like there's like 12 people. I'm like,
Yeah, but then
With the
didn't
flags.
Megatron 1 destroy them all?
is this
Oh,
a
he
Palpatine
did shoot them up.
situation? Like, are there lots of Palpatines? And then like, because I don't understand how that works either. How is this? It doesn't make me feel like there are other cells of Transformers. It just seemed like there were only like 6 of them. It's kind of like the Deadpool joke. Is like, can we only afford like 6 X-Men?
There's a bunch of Autobots that just never was on screen. They were
Thank
stationed at
God,
different
like Andre said,
outposts.
thank God my favorite Autobot was not on screen. It would
Who's
break
your
my
favorite Autobot?
damn heart. It's Jazz. I collect Jazz toys.
Nice.
That's me. I collect Jazz. He's the best.
No,
Sunglasses.
I really like Jazz in the
breakdancing.
first Bayformers movie.
Yeah, and they freaking killed him too. And I'm like, God damn it. So I'm glad he wasn't in this because it was a train wreck. all the
No,
way. I'm
Eddie
like,
Winslow. No.
Why?
Oh, he'll be
Why?
back. He'll be back.
R.I.P. Scatman Crothers. He's still the one I hear when I close my eyes and listen to Jazz. That's who I got in my head. But yeah, it's where are the rest of the Autobots? Like, are
They're
they on?
stationed in outposts. Didn't you see the cameo from Cliff Jumper near the end?
Yeah, they're all like the 12 outposts or whatever.
No, they're in quarantine, guys.
They're all gonna make it to Earth. Trust
okay.
me.
You know
They're all
what? They're
gonna make
waiting
it
for
to Earth.
Optimus to give them they're like, wasn't Optimus supposed to have like a meeting with all of us? Like,
They're sitting in the Zoom call,
Zoom
waiting.
call, yeah, waiting.
just
Okay.
spinning around.
So here's the last question before we bounce, because clearly we've ventured all different areas. So I think the question to Rob and to the panel is this the best Transformers show ever? Rob, go.
It's a stupid question. No.
What's the best Transformers show ever?
Well, for me, I'm going to go with G1, the original 1980s. Because again, I saw very little Beast Wars, right? Yeah.
Beast Wars was dope. That's worth watching, Rob.
I did enjoy as a new dad at the time. Did enjoy watching Rescue Bots because it was kind of cool. It's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm gonna go G1 all the way. Sorry, shut up, John.
Dre.
I've watched a lot of Rescue Bots, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
They got deep later seasons. It's crazy.
Yeah.
When they traveled to the future and like the bad guys had won, it was nuts.
Yeah.
Andre.
Yeah, I would probably say obviously the G1. But I'm gonna give a special shout out to the 2 or 3 War for Cybertron video games. Those things were great.
That you can't get anymore.
Yeah, they were really, really good. The stories were good. The multiplayer was fun.
There were 2, and then they were forced to combine with the movie games.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you could actually transform. So to Andre's point, you could actually change.
I actually have them. Do you guys want to see it?
And you could ram people. Look at this guy. He's gonna delve into his video game collection now.
I have them on.
It's all filed under T for Transformers.
Yeah. I have those games. They're wicked. I even have the art books for the games, and even Dreamwave Comics. They did the War Within series.
I need to
Really
see
well
that.
done.
Hey, if you own an Xbox, you can go on Xbox Pass, and probably they're still there. You can probably play them right now.
No, I think they're all the Transformer stuff is taken down. Even Devastation, the latest one, yeah, they've all been removed from the stores and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's a licensing issue. Yeah, that was a fun game.
If you're Canada, go to your local AB and buy them. So
yeah, you got to buy used copies. Of the game.
Devastation is still on the PlayStation Network, I believe.
You sure? You should double check.
It's still on my.
If you bought it, you keep it. But I don't think you can buy it right now.
Okay,
that's my understanding.
This is the best. This is the best Transformers game, though.
100%.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
100 it's awesome. Okay, we're gonna jump to John. What's the best Transformers?
It's not the best Transformers. I would actually recommend Transformers Prime. That it was like one or two before this. Especially if you like Ultra Magnus. If you haven't watched it, look up on YouTube. Ultra Magnus versus Predaking. It was a crazy fight. It's got like this big hammer. The choreography, the budget of them actually moving around and stuff like that. Unfortunately, their mouths look weird. They actually have absence of lips. They just have like these slits sometimes, and it looks really weird. So maybe they were trying to compensate for that. I don't know. It was weird. But if you look that up, Ultra Magnus versus Predaking, it was like one of the best.
The best
comparison I've ever seen.
Of Ultra Magnus, he got jobbed like Mace Windu. Like Mace Windu is supposed to be the best fighter, and in Star Wars, he's like beep, out the window. So, Ultra Magnus got jobbed. He's awesome, but he's the best fighter. He's supposed to be the best fighter, and then he
wrecked Django, didn't he? He wrecked Django, right?
But Django
just like Mace
really
Windu. Yeah.
He stood there and got.
Anyways, we're gonna Pat, best Transformer show.
Probably not.
What is your
okay. It's probably Beast Wars.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It has to be Beast Wars. It has to be Beast Wars.
Yep.
Which is season 3 of this, right?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet because season 3 of this is supposed to be called Kingdom, and then the promotional teaser images has like Optimus Primal and Cheetor on it. Yeah. So
I would say so. Go back in time.
Just means more toys.
It does.
100%. I want a Rhinox. He was the best. My favorite one. And when they got the Cybertron, I was like, wow, this is a turn. Beast Wars.
When he became
in
Beast Machines, when he became the tank.
When it converted into Beast Machines, and you're like,
when he became a tank.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He became the tank. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. He's a good guy that turns into a bad guy, and it's amazing. It's a really like he's a very caring, like good character in Beast Wars, Rhinox, and then he becomes like an ultimate badass, and you're like,
Because his spark got reformatted into a tank that was like a badass.
Rob's eyes are glazing over.
Yeah, it's great.
You can't see the.
Is it nap time yet?
He's done. He's gonna go listen to Dare to Be Stupid now.
Rob's like, I gotta get my sangria ready. Like, where's the fruit? I gotta throw this in my giant pot and drink it. Joey, I'm gonna give you final on this one.
Final cut.
No, I'm going to end it off with G1, of course. That's what I grew up in, so those are the toys I wanted, and I still don't have. But
okay, wait, hang on. The question is, which is the best one, not which one did you like most?
Well, that's the best one in her opinion. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, at least. This one definitely not, Like, again, like, the writing was 4th, 5th thing that I noticed. So, no, sorry, it wasn't.
Can I call it second after Beast Wars?
Actually, hold on. There's
really?
Also, well, I never know how to say this. It's a YouTube channel called Machinima.
Machinima, yeah.
Mishima?
R.I.P. That's gone. Yes.
Yeah, that's gone. But they had all the seasons of Power of the Primes and Combiner Wars.
It was only a web series, yeah.
A lot of people didn't like that, but I liked it because I like robots that make one big robot. So that's kind of my jam.
Who doesn't? Yeah, who does? Voltron, we already talked about it. How about 5 lines to turn into one giant robot? Yeah.
I definitely recommend
Look at this guy.
at least watch
Where's his arm?
Still missing a piece.
My dream bedroom still has like Predaking in one side with like red lights and Dev on the other side with green or purple lights. I'm gonna be single forever, thank you.
I don't think so. You're good. No, you're fine.
You probably just gained like I don't know how many. Your inbox is gonna blow up now.
The suitors are not the problem. The problem
They're
is
gonna blow up. They're of people like that already have that.
The problem is when you find someone that has all the other stuff, you're gonna combine. You'd be like, oh my god, we have too much stuff. Like that's the bigger problem in life when you find someone like too much.
I'm just gonna find a good IKEA hookup, and it's fine.
Wow.
It's fine. Everything's fine. But no, honestly, guys, if you have time, the people that are watching this, go into YouTube and find Combiner Wars as well. And if you like robots that turn into one big robot, that's your jam.
Yeah.
Hey, Stu, I'm actually surprised that the last question wasn't, are we going to watch the 2nd season?
I think we're gonna have to.
Did he?
So no, I think based on this, we're forced to continue watching it. So we have a choice.
You got
to give it. It's like how Andre forces me to watch The Witcher, and I force Andre to watch The Mandalorian. This is how the relationship works. Andre's like, you have to watch this. I'm like, all right, and I in turn force him to watch something he hates.
Well, I hope it gets dropped on another Thursday because I'm going to need that time because I invariably will fall asleep.
That's siesta.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah, I can tell you right now when Witcher 2 comes out, I'm begrudgingly watching it, and there'll be a picture of Andre in the background. It's like, it's for Andre, and I'll watch it because
for Andre.
For him. It's like The Simpsons, do it for him because that's the only reason I'm watching The Witcher. It's for Andre, so we can talk about it. Other than that, I'm
Henry
like,
Cavill, come on.
News fest. Oh God. Yeah. Anyways. I'd be more interested in the prequel. Hopefully they'll spend some money on the damn show.
I need to say something to Rob.
Yeah.
Rob, till all are one. I'll see you next week, bro.
All right.
Let him do what he wants, because, like, to quote another trope, freedom is the right of all sentient beings. And Rob is free, and he is sentient. You can do what he wants.
Rob, this is
Am I? I don't know. I'm married. They just tell me what to do.
Rob is like, do we have to? And Andre's like, Optimus Prime is like, yeah. That's pretty much the justification.
And I'm going to be like Optimus Prime in this show. I'm out of here. I'm going to start running away.
Into the pool. To Joey, to your point of giant robots combining into one, yes, that's the only reason why I haven't bought Superion is that I'm waiting for the nice version of him because the current ones are all really, really bad. They haven't found a way to make planes transform properly into. Yeah, it's so nice.
Dude, this is the best you're gonna get.
I know that's the problem. That's the best. But
there's a third party.
If I buy the best Devastator, I can't have Devastator stand next to that. Dear God, it's like no. You don't have me stand next to Brad Pitt and be like, this is the pinnacle of humans. This is not how it works. No. So that's why you have Matt Damon stand next to Brad Pitt. You'll be like, there you go, 2 movie stars. Okay. So before we bounce, thank you again for everyone who is watching, liking, subscribing, following us. Please press the buttons, press the bells, do everything. Comment below.
Like and subscribe.
Comment below on your favorite Transformer of the show. if we should pull the plug like they did on Ultra Magnus and not watch the show going forward, but I think we're going to do it anyways. Your favorite Transformer? Are you buying
Ultra
the
Magnus
toys?
pulled his own plug like a
Yep.
G, though. He took it like a G.
Oh God! Show us pictures on Instagram of your Transformers doing awesome things. Let's roll it out. Continue to do it. This is like the tease, like they did in the Avengers movie. Are they gonna wait to the last episode before Optimus Prime says transform and roll out? Like, is this gonna wait to the very last damn episode? Because heartbreaking. Okay, so thank you all. Continue. Again, John and Rob are on their Instagram lives doing their own little pre-show, so watch it there. But John and Andre, where can we find you guys on social media?
So Heroes World Online, pretty much wherever you search that. So on the YouTube, it's Heroes World Online if you're already watching this. The website, Heroes World Online. The Facebook, Heroes World Online. And you can email us at sales.heroesworld, HEROES, world@gmail.com.
Dre?
And you can, of course, find us in our brick and mortar store, which is in Markham, which is just outside of the GTA. It's Heroes World, and our address is 8601 Warden Avenue. Give us a call, email, drop by. We are open back for business, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody. And if you don't feel comfortable coming in, we can arrange curbside pickup and shipping. So reach out to us if you want recommendations, suggestions, or you just want your geek, hobbies filled. We carry a little bit of everything and a great selection of all of those things that are awareness.
And your Instagram account, John, for the store that you guys post pictures of action figures.
Heroes World Online as well. Yeah. Heroes World Online. My personal account is JHO. But I'll add to this.
So Heroes World Online, they'll post pictures of the board games they received, the D&D materials, action figures, Gundams, statues, comic books, trades, all of it. So T-shirts, whatever they got coming in, they'll post it up. So if you have it, totally check it out. On another note, if you are in the U.S., please remain safe and support your local stores. Just keep on helping the guys out because they're, in a little bit of a pickle, and they need your help to survive. Because if you don't, they're all going to be gone, and that would be heartbreaking that you wouldn't have a local store to go to. So if you're in the U.S. or in Canada, if you can't go to the store, support them. If you're in the GTA, come to Heroes World, give them a shout out. But please support your local store. Buy stuff. Don't go to the big box retailers and buy your stuff. Buy it from the small places because they really appreciate your support and love. Pat, we can find you always in the store randomly doing things. And
he's on the YouTube with me, cracking packs and doing other silly stuff. So
and
we got Double Masters coming out this week. So this airs Wednesday. Yeah, new Double Masters will be out this week. We'll be cracking some packs of that hot Magic stuff.
And Magic
and
will
taking
continue.
pictures of toys.
Yep. Continue Magic and sobbing slowly. The Transformers card game is no more. So that's all she wrote.
It'll be back.
In a new form. I'm still waiting for Overpower to come back, John. You've been lying to me. You've been saying forever it'll come back.
That's a Fleer Marvel problem. There's too many hands in that pot.
Joey, finally to you. Where can we find you? We talked a little about your YouTube on Comics Vault. Where else can they find you right now on social?
So you can find my own social at Instagram. I'm most active at that one. So that's at the Captain Canary. And on Facebook, you can find me by just my complicated last name. I'll try to shorten that if I do get married one day. But I need to tell you guys about something very, very important. Our TV show is out in Amazon Prime. So hopefully if you guys have Amazon Prime, just check out Heroes World. And it's called the Creator Unleashed TV show. And it's a series that kind of shows all the comic book conventions that, kind of graze like the Western Hemisphere. And we start off with, a little bit of local stuff, and we go all the way to San Diego Comic-Con. So check that out. Episodes in YouTube for Heroes Manufactured as well. Comics Vault is there. That's my show. And we also have Game Changers by Addie and Movie Minutes by Phil. And this is all spearheaded by Yaron Vatan. Great cast. So definitely follow us there. And of course, Chapter House. Rob, you talked about that statue. The Captain Canuck resin statue is available for pre-order right now. So make sure you check out Chapter House, and our Instagram is Chapter House CA.
And Captain Canary is all one word. No.
The Captain Canary, all one word.
Perfect. That's what we want to know. So thank you so much for joining us, Joey. It's always a pleasure to have you. The rest of you guys, whatever.
Rob at chopbuster.com on Instagram.
Can we just say today? It was an Andre Rob love fest here. We were like,
It doesn't. Yeah,
they connected.
we were thinking every week this guy's busting my balls, going, "You have the worst taste."
This
Andre,
is like the eclipse. You know, it's happening.
No, Andre. No. Honestly, Thor and Loki do team up every once in a while. They gotta come together, even if they're fighting.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, right?
Yeah. If
John, you
Andre
guys do like a little like video edit of Andre and Rob, and it starts off with Andre going, "My love, my love."
this is even Thor and Loki gotta team up every once in a while. Even Spider-Man teams up with the Green Goblin every once in a while. Things happen. This may be a random situation, but good guys, bad guys got to combine every once in a while. This is what happens for a global battle, which basically is Transformers. That's pretty much.
Well, apparently this was so bad. This show was so bad it brought together Thor and Loki. This is the hella of the situation. Like, it's the hella of TV shows.
Yeah. So that's how we're gonna phrase it. It'll be in there. So thank you everyone for watching. Have a good one. We'll see you again next week. Peace out. See you later.
see ya.
Thank you.